everyone. Welcome to the program. This is Politics Today live on Channels Television. I'm sure Kimalo in Abuja. Tonight we won't disappoint you, as we'll never disappoint you, to bring you the very latest and the biggest stories in the world of politics. So stay with me, everyone, because tonight we touch on some of your biggest story in the land. Let's begin from Anambra State, where our former central bank governor, Professor Charles Soludo, today assumed the position of the governor of Anambra State. Governor Soludo was sworn in as the fifth governor of Anambra State in a modest event that took place at a government house in Awka. Soludo took over from Mr. Willie Obiano. The former Central Bank of Nigeria governor took the oath of office alongside his deputy Onyeka Ibezim. In his inaugural speech, Soludo promised to hit the ground running, saying some key members of the government will be announced in a few hours. Take a listen to the new governor.
I applied for this job. My party, the All Progressive Grand Alliance, Abuja, shortlisted me. And you, Umunamundi Anambra, interviewed and employed me as your chief servant with Dr. Onyeka Gilbert Ibezim as my deputy. God ordained this moment, and we are grateful to him and to you all for the privilege to serve you. Dr. Ibezim and I will work very hard every day to make you proud. I ask millions of Indian Anambra all over the world who have prayed for today to simply say a 1-minute prayer to commit this journey and Anambra State onto the hands of the Almighty God.
That is the new governor of Anambra State, Chukwuma Soludo. Well, in the midst of the change of God at the arena there was a drama during the inauguration when Mrs. Ebele Chukwu Obiano, wife of the ex-governor Willie Obiano, and Mrs. Bianca Ojukwu, wife of the late Odumego Ojukwu, engaged in an altercation which led to a clash. The altercation reportedly occurred when Mrs. Obiano went over to where Mrs. Ojukwu was sitting. It is not clear the exchanges between both women before the situation degenerated. The newly sworn-in Anambra State Governor, Soludo, has apologized for the clash between the two women. Soludo, in a statement signed by spokesperson Joe Anatuna, says that the altercation was, quote, caused by improper communication, which itself arose from a personal issue between the two parties involved in the breach. There's been some decisions on that. Well, the governor is advising that both for peace and in the midst of all of the situation. Well, now, let's tell you that there's some situation happening in Akwa Ibom State, where a decision from the courtroom is emerged and a change of the leadership of the All Progressives Congress, APC, in Akwa Ibom State. Federal High Court, sitting in Abuja, presided over by the Justice Taiwo, in a ruling today, sacked the Augustine Ekanem-led Akwa Ibom State Executive Committee of the party. In a considered judgment, the court held that Stephen Leo Into Kekapo and Udo Kwabang Peter Udo, the secretary, Oko Obonodo Ini, the state woman leader, amongst others, were duly elected as the members of the Akwa Ibom State APC State Executive Committee at the State Congress held on the 16th day of October 2021. The plaintiffs, led by Stephen Leo Itukapo, had approached the Federal High Court for several reliefs against the APC. The governor, Buni, the secretary, John Akpan Uduade, and INEC, seeking several declarations. The declarations include that the plaintiffs are the duly and democratically elected members of the Akwa Ibom State Executive Committee of the APC, having emerged victorious at the APC Congress. The court then made some consequential orders, reversing the issuance of the certificates of return and swearing in of the Augustine Ekanem-led Executive Committee, and also ordered the APC to forthwith issue certificates of return and to swear in the plaintiffs led by Stephen Leo Itukakwo as a duly elected member of the Akwa Ibom State Executive Committee of the APC at a state congress held on the 16th of October 2021. It's now time for us to bring you up to speed with some of your latest political roundup stories.
With countdown now in days for the National Congress of the All Progressive Congress, a group under the aegis of Arewa Youth South, South and Southeast are rallying support for the former governor of Nasarawa State, Tanko Almakura, to become the next national chairman of the party. Spokesperson for the group, Anas Yero, during a media briefing in Port Harcourt, the River State capital, said Senator Almakura, being a governor under the defunct Congress for Progressive Change, CPC, played a significant role in the creation of the All Progressive Congress. The group expressed confidence in Senator Almakura to provide competent leadership being grounded in the internal politics of the party.
Under the auspices of Arewa Youth South, South and Southeast, support and endorse the candidature of Senator Umar Almakura as the most competent, reliable, credible candidate suitable for the national chairman.
Some youth with the names Rescue Nigeria Mission are calling for support for Kogi State Governor Yahaya Bello to become president of Nigeria come 2023. They asked youths across the country to shun what they call the traditional politics of electing only the aged into power. Their advice is for all young minds in the country to get their permanent voter cards to support like minds who have shown capacity for productive governance. They were speaking in Calabar, the Cross River State capital.
We are calling on the youth to be law-abiding, to come out and collect their PVC. For that is the only ticket we need to challenge the status quo, to tell these senior men that, hey man, the time is up. And then the game is over and the youth are ready. And Yahaya Bello is our torchbearer.
Some members of the Taraba State Traditional Council have joined the call to zone the governorship seat to the Northern Senatorial District in 2023. The men, during a press conference in Jalingo, advised politicians to respect the zoning arrangements in the interest of justice and equity. They said they are not in opposition to the government of the day, but wanted a redress to what they called denial of power for 16 years.
As a matter of fairness, justice, equity, and inclusiveness, that the power should rotate to Northern Taraba State.
And former Senate President Dr. Abubakar Bukola Saraki has met with women leaders of the People's Democratic Party across the 36 states and the FCT. This is part of his ongoing consultations with stakeholders in the party for his presidential ambition. Dr. Saraki told the delegation, led by the PDP national women leader, that he would give priority to and address challenges facing women if elected as Nigeria's next president.
I want to appeal to our women. This is the time for us to look at ourselves, our children, and the Almighty Allah, their creators. We must find the right person that understands the work. You see, to make Nigeria better, you must have what it takes to make it work.
Thank you so much, everyone. Let's tell you quickly that the former deputy governor of the central bank and a presidential hopeful, Professor Kingsley Moghalu, has addressed a press conference on the state of the nation. He's decried a series of issues that he thinks that happen in the country, suggesting solutions on how things have gone under the Buhari-led administration. Take a listen to Professor Kingsley Moghalu.
Life in Nigeria is becoming increasingly unbearable for Nigerians. Our country faces multiple crises, ranging from acute economic difficulties to deepening social despair and continuing insecurity. Rather than the situation getting better, we see it getting worse. every day. Many Nigerians today can no longer afford a tuber of yam. They cannot afford a bag of rice. Increasingly, many cannot even afford a loaf of bread. So I condemn the failure of the government of Nigeria to invest in education.
But as Professor Kingsley Mahalu, let's tell you quickly also that the investigation team set out by the Nigerian Bar Association to look into what really happened in the case of the invasion to the home of Justice Mary Orderly, the Justice of the Supreme Court, has released his report. Part of the report is that the SPIDEL arm of the NBA came out to say that it has discovered that the invasion was backed by greed and downright stupidity, going by the account of all the Damati personnel, and there was neither wisdom nor logic in the entire saga. They went further to say the cock and bull story of imaginary sums of money stashed away in Mr. Peter Orderly's house was just a mere brainwave of a mind afflicted perhaps by high fever, and condemned what has happened, and have advised all the necessary people in the matter to seek caution. Well, the People's Democratic Party, PDP, has made its decision after a series of meetings yesterday on plans ahead of the primary elections in respect of the general elections 2023. The party says it will set up zoning committees and has announced sale of funds. Some of the details of that we will show you on the program tonight. How much fund for each position will look like? Costs about 45 million, for example, to obtain a nomination form from the president, and it goes all down and down like that. You see, we'll show you in a while. But the party has decided that it will set up a zoning committee, and also that it will also give some concession to youth and women in the party in the area of the purchase of form. But let's look at some of the issues that have been thrown up in the midst of all of this. I'm being joined tonight by a member of the PDP BOT, Senator Abdul Ningi, a former federal lawmaker. And here also is a member of the People's Democratic Party, Mr. Kasim Afegbua. He's a former commissioner for information in Edo State. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming.
Thank you very much.
I'd like to show you the cost of that form. And the thing you were at that meeting, and I wanted to know who was on the mind of the leaders of the party when you came up with the cost of the form. For example, it will cost about 5 million for the purchase of expression of interest form for the president, and 40 million naira for nomination form for the president. 45 million naira.
No, 35 million.
35. No, there's 45 million. 35. Okay, making 40 million.
Yes.
40 million in total. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, right there on your screen. And for governorship, 1 million for interest form, 20 million for the nomination form, and it goes on like that. Why is it that expensive?
Is it expensive?
It is not.
Under the circumstance?
I thought under the circumstance.
Under the circumstance.
The economic circumstance.
We're an opposition party. We are not in government. We're trying to make sure the very best of us actually run for this election. It is not just a matter of just picking palm and just be part of the congregation. We want to make sure serious-minded people who are actually ready for this job are presented to the party person before Nigerians. And I do not think for a presidential person that needs to have 35 million as for the form and 5 million as an expression form, for you to say that amount of money is too much. And when you say that amount of money, how much is 40 million in a dollar? Per dollar. We are just talking about $20,000.
We are not talking we are in Nigeria.
Just as an example.
Naira is the denomination for purchase of commodities.
Yeah, let me just tell you the logic of the Naira and the dollar. Everything that we are going to have is actually imported, whether in terms of microphone, whether in terms of vehicles. And you know, we are 36 states in the Federation and Abuja. And if you don't have the capacity, how then does a political party weighs your ability?
So, Senator, let's get some things clear.
Yeah.
Is the PDP trying to get money from the purchase of funds? Is this your source of income or source of generation of funds for the election?
PDP are trying to get the right people at the right time for the right positions. And if you're not ready, there is an adequate time between 2019, when we failed an election, to today. Most people that you see picking forms are people who have been saving and been preparing for this assignment. If you cannot do away with 20 million after waiting for 4 years, what measures do you have to run for a governorship? Some people are not buying these forms themselves.
So money really is the name of the game?
Money matters everywhere in politics. Money is fundamental.
So for those who don't have that amount of money, but they have quality and capacity, I mean, this is a deterrence for them, isn't it?
It's never a deterrence. It's never a deterrence. Those people who believe in them, if you have the capacity, you have the ability, showcase it to people, and people who actually identify you as being able and capable. They'll come handy, they'll come and assist you. I have seen in the past.
The party is an expensive party, is it?
I have seen, like my first election, I didn't buy my form.
How did you get it?
My friends contributed money, 500,000 then, in 1999. And that was a big money then. They contributed 500,000 and gave it to me.
All right. Senator, let me come to the Prince of Okwila. I mean, do you agree with Senator? 40 million at this time in Nigeria is not too much to purchase forms?
Sean, just excuse me to report that we got a verdict today in the Federal High Court under Justice Taiwo concerning the kind of political impasse in Edo State with respect to the issue of structure. The judge had ruled that those who were validly elected, in the Congress that was held in March 2020, remain so until the expiration of their 4-year tenure in 2024. So that also suggests that all the altercations of harmonizations, integration, what have you, has been laid to rest. And
by the court?
By the court.
Which can be appealed?
Well, there was no defense.
No, so it could be appealed. The window is still there. The judgment was given today.
Okay, no problem, but I've just told you, but at least for now, that is the status quo. And
as an interested party. As an interested party.
Yes, so that we can rest that. Concerning the form issue, you see, unfortunately, our democracy and our politics is heavily monetized, unfortunately. And it's one of those things we have been canvassing for quite some time. But for anyone who wants to run for, to preside over the country, 40 million for me is not bogus.
It's not too much.
That's the truth. It's not bogus. If you want to run for the president of the country, to preside over 200 and something million people, to purchase the form, of course, the party has a role to play in the process of throwing you up. The party is going to organize primaries. It's going to organize congresses and other activities, to make that, to fulfill all the requirements in the Electoral Act and by extension the Constitution. So I don't see that as something bogus.
Let me come to the issue of, because it seems you're on the same page. Maybe for poor people like us, we think that 40 million...
Just like what he said.
It's a lot of money.
Just like what he said.
Just to purchase a
form. It's not about being poor. It's about the fact that, just like what he said, if you are running for the position and you have the credentials and you meet up with it, your friends will rally around to purchase the form for you. It's a requirement that at least this is what the party wants. Part and parcel of the guidelines and regulations of the party.
So it's just simple. You don't have the money, stay away from politics. Because that's what it means. Money is dictating the tune.
See, before you eventually go to convention, you are going to have 5 different congresses. Who is going to give the money? 5 different congresses in 36 in Abuja.
Doesn't your party get membership contributions?
They get. They do. How much is that?
If you, your party claim that you have a large followership. And if, for example, if you have 30 million members in your party who are paying party membership contribution, and if you have 1,000 per year, 1,000 times 30 million is a lot of money to do anything.
If you ask me, in the face of debilitating suffering, poverty, hunger, and deprivation that the APC has plunged the country, if I have the resources, I would rather pay for members in terms of their dues than even taxing them to contribute.
That's what I'm saying. I'm talking about the membership dues.
That's what I'm saying. I said the membership dues.
If every member pays 1,000 times 30 million or 20 million.
I would rather take from the rich to please the poor masses with the kind of situation we are in this country. I don't know if you know the enormity of the suffering in the land, and consistently, the masses are becoming tired hearing the same rhetoric from politicians. So even for us to extract their commitment goes a long way in trying to persuade them, talk to them, and let them buy into your program. So for me, if the rich wants to play the politics and they want to spend the money for the masses, I will support that kind of an arrangement.
Senator,
in addition, just not to cut him, just in addition to what he said, what are you giving people to make sure that money that they are making a living out, that is eke out to run party activities, what have you returned gave out to the people? You remember, we have just 13 states out of 36. So we have 23 states to administer. Even if the followership is 50 million, it's not every follower that pays his dues. I think as an opposition party, we are doing wonderfully well in making sure that we remain afloat in spite of losing power at the center and the states.
All right, I will stay away from. I was perhaps a bit emotional, maybe because I was speaking with, on behalf of some people who really want to contest, but they don't have that money. And I'm imagining if I actually have any intention to run for office, I'm not sure I have that kind of money to run for to buy funds. But let's stay away from that, because it looks like you, the political elite, have made up your mind to chase away those without money.
This purchase is not for everybody. Women are exempted. Women are exempted.
Okay, and the youths are also 50%.
That's a good level. That's a good level. But Senator, let's go to a very important one. We're hearing, and I don't know how true this is, that it does look like very, very top. There are some strong members of the party that have made up their minds that the ticket of the party is going to the north. Is that true? Confirm to us.
That is news to me. You know, I'm a member of BOT and being a member of NEC. And we participated in a joint meeting of NEC and BOT after the caucus. And it was resolved in our agenda that a 37-man committee, one from each state, to serve as a zonal committee. So does that mean that zonal committee is already pronounced? The decision of the zonal committee the committee is not even set up. It's just to be set up, but it's given 2 weeks to come up with the way out. And what is the way out? Where do we zone this presidency? How do we zone this presidency? Why do we zone this presidency? That is one. If a president emerges, like from Southeast, where do we take the vice president from? If he emerges from Northeast, where do you take the president from?
Who is chairing this zoning committee?
It is amongst the 37 members. So that in order to elude any idea of somebody is using somebody.
So there is a member from each state and the FCT.
And the FCT, 37.
That seems fair, isn't it?
37.
Kazim, isn't fair, isn't it?
Well, I'm not a member of NEC.
But I'm saying that if that's a decision.
Wait, you see, they took a decision. And I think I wouldn't want the party to be clever by half. I like to be very practical in all my emanations. I don't like people to beggar the issue. The point is, if you look at the algorithms, with 37 states, 19 from the north, 17 from the south, if they were to vote, what happens? The party PDP must, I'm using that word, must respect justice, fairness, and equity in its politics of 2023. Having gotten a candidate in 2019 from the north when no southerner participated, it is only natural they cede that position to the south. When you get to the south, you can choose whether it's southeast, whether south, or southwest. You see, the point is, when you are running away from the truth, you are also not helping those who are your followers. I like parties and leaders who speak to the real facts on the ground.
So you don't think that they need to set up any committee? They should have decided that NEC and BOT straight away that it was going to the south.
Of course, it's not the party has it in the constitution. Article 7 is there. Who had the chairman last time? South had the chairman. Who had the presidential candidate? North. This time, who had the chairman? North. Who should get the presidential candidate? South.
You start at NEC and you start at BOT.
You see, unlike Kazim, I'm a chieftain of this party, a member of the BOT. I'm a member of NEC and former National Grand Secretary. I won't come to the national platform and be speaking the way he's speaking, because yesterday's meeting had all the former governors, all the sitting governors, all the sitting senators.
But do you see sense in what Kasim
I don't see any sense in it. It's not proposing.
For example, as a former member of the National Assembly,
yeah,
number is very critical.
It is critical.
So if you measure 19 members out of the 37,
yeah.
In fact, it's not 19 now. It's going to be 20 because the FCT now sits on making 37.
Yeah.
So it's 20 members from the north and 17 from the south. If they're going to put it
to vote, interest you to know. Recall back when we set up the zonal committee. Recall back, and then find out the story. How many members voted for the chairman to come to the north and not to come to the south? It's a party matter. You can vote both ways, and that is what you are trying to run away from. That is why the party, in its own wisdom, otherwise it would have been foreclosed. I was here in a program, and you remember there was this issue of party chairmanship coming to the north, and then allowing every other part of the country to run. That was in the minute. That was adopted. That was agreed. But typical of the party that we are, that listens, that negotiates, that wants peace. So, okay, if there are issues, it is not a straightforward matter. Yesterday, it wasn't just a straightforward matter.
How tough was that decision?
It was. You know, we don't fight. We are not APC.
No, but there was a very huge argument.
Huge argument. I was also part of those who said already the party has taken a position, open it up. But when superior argument is presented, get seven members of our eligible members, let them go and discuss and come back to the NEC.
But you see
the funny part of the story. When you begin to say every northerner must vote a northerner, every southerner must vote. No. That is not the history.
Kasim, how do you react to what
that is not the history. No, that is not the history of our party.
You see, it's not about...
From the onset.
Senator,
but that is not fair.
As someone who has been a chieftain of the party for a long time, the question is that, look, just a moment, Kasim, the history of your party was the one who entrenched the concept of zoning and rotation in this country. So the question is, why is it difficult now for your party?
Let me just give you the background. Let me give you the background. From the onset, before the attempting of zoning, it wasn't just started on day one. When the party was being formed, one of the reasons why the founders of the party decided to take the position, they didn't take the position to the south, as a south. To Obasanjo, they took that position to the southwest. To do what? To appease the southwest.
Because of the MKO.
Because of the MKO. That is a historical fact.
So what would you be considering now?
Wait.
No, because we don't have the time. What would you be considering now?
We are considering discussing the facts, the figures, and the timelines.
Okay.
We have spent 16 years.
Let's wrap up quickly now. And I know you were shaking your head. You were not quite agreeing with what Senator Ninge. What was your position to the position? This is a position of NEC, a position of BOT.
You see, listen, I don't want to, my brain cannot approximate the entire brain of those who sat at the NEC and BOT to take a decision about the issue of zoning. But I have a right as a party member to interrogate. You see, the moment you are telling people you cannot interrogate realities or outcomes of meeting and all that, you make it to be stereotyped. I like to interrogate. I've raised the point. I know Ningi's sentiments. The situation suits him. We don't need to say it. I know he sent me. I know the person he's supporting. I know the person he's supporting for the presidency and all of that. And
who does Senator Ringi support?
Leave that to her. You have been seeing pictures all over the place. So leave that to her.
I support a candidate.
Yes, of course. And he has a right to do that.
Yeah, he has a right to do that.
Who are you supporting, Senator Ringi?
I'm supporting Atiku Abubakar.
So you can understand this is suitable for them.
Like Kasim.
You see, this is suitable for them.
Look at my
pedigree. Who are you supporting, Kasim?
I don't have anybody, but it's Southerner.
Really?
Yes.
See, for now. You supported Tambuwa the last time?
Yes, in Northerner in 2019. Because
so
all the aspirants were Northerner. For now, I don't have a candidate yet.
So you're supporting the
any Southern person because it is the turn of the South.
We have the likes of Peter Obi.
Peter Obi, Anyim is there, Samu Hambuwa, and others who will come out. If he comes out.
So who of them are you supporting?
See, before I make
Senator Ringi has come out.
That is him because they are in a hurry. I will take a decision an informed decision based on my reading of the aspirants. You see, I don't want people to come and speak, trying to be clever by half in presenting scenarios. When you know where your mind is, and you want to walk from question to answer, or answer to question. The point is, setting up a 37-member committee is just an interplay of forces. But in the final analysis, just like you said, it's going to be a dicey issue. I am still insisting. I will insist till tomorrow, if you like, put a gun on my head. It is the turn of the southern part in PDP to produce a candidate for 2023 elections.
Senator Ringi.
It doesn't have my pedigree in working with Nigerians all across the board. I was in the House, I was in the Senate. Look at my contribution. As motions, as bills, about Northern Nigeria, about Southern Nigeria. About Southern, what was my interest? When I sponsored a bill.
You want to be elected. I don't want to be elected.
No.
I'm not
but you can't dispute it.
What was my interest? When I sponsored a bill.
It's an elected guy. Must everybody be elected?
What was my interest when I sponsored a bill on offshore dichotomy? What was my interest? What was my interest when I sponsored a motion on Bakassi? These are all southern issues. Well, let me tell you, or like Kazim, my priority is how my party goes and who can win the election for us in 2020. It doesn't matter anybody.
The sentiments in the country don't support this one.
That is a country.
A plural country, a plural society.
How do you
must balance all the authorities.
How do you define it? I don't come here to enter into argument.
No, that's the truth.
I come here to enter into very educated presentation of facts and figures.
Hold on, Kasim.
Let me just tell you.
So, I mean, in clear terms, if you look at do you see any sense in what Kasim is trying to say? The nation is divided.
As far as a PDP person is concerned, like myself, there is no sense in what he's saying. It's just sentiment, it's just emotions, probably because he's a southerner. I don't care who become the president of this country.
No, I care.
I supported Obasanjo.
Look at what we are going through now. I care.
Is it because Buhari is the president? That's why.
No.
Because it's
it's because it has brought us to this level.
Who brought him up?
Who brought us to this level?
He was elected nationwide.
Look at suffering.
He was elected nationwide.
So if somebody is elected, you have to show capacity.
We had president in the past. Now, northern descent. You can't say because Buhari performed.
I am not using that one.
No, you are using it.
No, what I'm telling you, after 8 years presidency in the north, the PDP Constitution, Article 7 is written there. Rotation of presidency.
You don't know anything about party constitution.
You may not know because it suits your
sentiment.
The
PDP Constitution is not saying what it's saying.
No, it's
the
Article 7 is written in rotation.
Where was the Constitution? Okay. Where was the Constitution when Obasanjo spent 8 years? Jonathan spent 6 years, 14 years?
5 years.
Okay, 13 years.
Yeah, 13 years, yes.
Then why was the northern president? How many years?
Who succeeded Obasanjo?
Why were you?
No, who succeeded Obasanjo?
Why were you in 2011?
Who succeeded Obasanjo?
When people were saying to obey the zoning in the country, Jonathan should forgo his presidency in 2011.
No,
but 2011. I came here and I said I was also supporting Jonathan because as a sitting president then, after finishing his term of 2 years, it is his right to want to run. And I supported him. And my office was burnt just because of supporting him. Am I not another now?
All right, let's wrap up now because we're totally out of time. So that's the position of the party.
That's the position of the party.
Or not, that's the position.
No. It's interplay of forces will come in. There's no doubt about that.
All right.
There's no doubt
but I'm
about
not
that.
sure anybody can preclude anybody from running, even when the zoning comes out.
It has always happened.
Yeah.
People run.
All right.
It has always
I
happened.
must sincerely thank both of you
Yesterday,
for the knowledge and experience that you have brought to bear tonight.
It was rounded up by a statement by the chairman. He said, at any rate, we can't stop anybody from purchasing the funds.
All right, thank you so
can't
much.
stop people because in 2019, only Northerners bought the fund. They didn't see sense in that period.
Kasim Afegua, Prince of Okila.
What was in 2009?
No,
What was in 1999?
1999.
Yes.
Gentlemen, we need to go now.
Obasanjo and Palaye.
Thank you so much. Always a pleasure because you always bring to bear history, experience, and your pedigree.
He is my friend, but you know.
But you don't look like friends tonight.
No, we're still friends.
But you disagree tonight, which is good anyway.
It's okay.
Thank you so much.
I will remember members of the party.
Appreciate it. It's good to disagree, though. Thank you so much, Kasim Afi. Well, we take a break, everyone, and when we come back, I'll allow you to listen to the PDP on the issue of the purchase of farm. Then I'll bring in my APC guest. Stay with me, everyone. We'll be right back.
For various elective positions. 11. NEC also approved the commencement of sale of expression of interest and nomination forms from Friday, March 17, 2022. The following amount for the forms were approved by NEC. 1. State houses of assembly, expression of interest, 400,000 naira. Nomination form, 500,000 naira. House of Representatives, expression of interest, 500,000 naira. Nomination form, 2 million. The Senate, expression of interest, 500,000 naira. Nomination form, 3 million naira. Governorship, expression of interest, 1 million naira. Nomination form, 20 million naira. The President, expression of interest, 5 million naira. And nomination form, 35 million naira. Zoning. NEC also approved the establishment of a 37-member zoning committee to make recommendations for the zoning of various elected positions for the 2023 general elections.
Well, you heard the spokesperson of the People's Democratic Party on some of the reasons behind the sales of farm and how the modalities. Now, let's switch gears now and move into the affairs of the ruling All Progressives Congress APC. Governor Mayor Buni is back in the saddle of the APC. The national chairman of the All Progressives Congress Caretaker and Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee has refuted claims that he has reversed some actions taken by the Niger State Governor Mohammed Bello, who assumed the national chairmanship position as the acting chairman of the party last week while Mr. Buni was away on medical trip. Who is also who stood in, and at the end of the day, the president had told Mr. Buni to get back to work. Yeah. There have been insinuations that Mr. Bello had permanently replaced Mr. Buni on the orders of President Muhammadu Buhari, but the refutation came today with a letter that surfaced, which we'll show you some moment on the program. But the speculations have been put to rest after the president on Wednesday backed Buni's continued role as a picture emerged on the meeting between President Buhari and Mr. Buni. Let's get talking about this one and what is really happening in the APC. I'm being joined by a chieftain of the APC, Chief Ray Murphy. Thank you so much, Chief, for coming tonight.
Sure, thanks for having me.
And Mr. Aliyu Audu. You are a member of the APC Reform, right?
The convener of APC Rebirth.
APC Rebirth. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
What exactly is happening, Chief? We understand that Senator Akpan Uduede has been let out of the caretaker committee. What is the true state of things?
Sure, thank you. You know, a political party is a contestation, both of ideas and of powers. That's what it is. And in the recent past, there's been issues about those contestations. And the fact remains that a lot of people who are outside the confines of a party are the ones who are actually blowing these things out of proportion. The facts are very clear that Buni was away for a while. He transmitted his office to Bello, who acted for a while. Bello came out repeatedly and said he was an acting chairman. He was acting. He said it repeatedly. People who didn't understand it blew it out until the president came into play and Buni came back into play. Now, when you talk about Akpan Udodeye, it's a little bit clear that Akpan Udodeye didn't play with the sentiments of a party, because Buni himself said that there was no way they were because Bello was acting for him, there was no way they were going to dismantle the actions they had taken. And as soon as the president gave that letter, Mr. Udodeye began to try to dismantle that. That is what led to the situations you're seeing. Clearly speaking...
So was it true that there was a vote of no confidence on Senator Udodeye?
There was certainly a vote of no confidence. There was certainly a vote of no confidence.
Has it been removed at the secretary of the party?
There's certainly a vote of no confidence. But go back to the president's letter, who said very clearly that given the short time frame, given the facts of legalities and issues like that, given the expectations of INEC and expectations of the citizens, and to meet the 26th, it's imperative that they should return to status quo ante. That's in the president's letter.
So, but what happened today is the fact, what is imagined? You've confirmed to us there was a vote of no confidence on Senator Akpan Udodeye. So what is the implication? Is he out of that office?
Let me answer you again. If you remember, if you followed your report from the party today, the candidate of the party from Osun State came to validate his form, and it was Akpan Udodeye who signed his form that he went to INEC with. So which is obeying the fact that Mr. President has said they should go back to status quo ante. And you know, INEC takes a procedure to change officers of a party. So this, what you see, this contestation, there are contestations, no doubt. But the fact remains that these contestations are a normal part of politics. And I think people are really blowing it out of proportion. And the man who is the leader...
Are the people blowing out of proportion? Or, I mean, it's one day, one change, one day, one twist, because the president had said, I mean, even the chairman today said there are not going to be any changes, but there were changes in the subcommittees that were earlier released. This is going to be the third time that the list of subcommittees were going to be released. So when you say that people are misconstruing, what language?
You know, Shehu, there are things about time lags between order and action. The fact remains that as at this evening, I'm a member of a committee.
Yeah.
The fact remains as at this evening, as I speak to you, the committees that are released by the acting chairman remain as constituted.
That's not true.
That's correct.
The list that came out, I mean, especially for the chairmanship and the leadership of those committees have changed.
That is why you saw that refutal. There's a refutal today.
That list is not
by
true.
Buni. There's a refutal by Buni who says that all actions taken by Bello remain.
So the list that was signed by Governor Buni...
No. The list that
came out today
was released by Akpan Udodeye.
So that's where the trouble began.
That's what happened today. So the Buni came back to refute it.
All right.
The papers, I'm sure you have those letters.
Absolutely, I have the letters. Yeah. And that's where the confusions are coming. That, I mean, this is the third time we're seeing the convention planning committee being changed. But now that you have established for us that the one that came out today is to be ignored.
Looking at Buni's letter today, that came out after that.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Okay, Mr. Audu, what is your reaction? You are one of the group, I mean, the group that said you want a rebirth in the APC. Does it look like the rebirth that you wanted?
I mean, it has never been a time to be disappointed as a member of an organization than now, being a member of the APC. I must say that. Very disappointed in the leadership. And for those who have expected to come and show clear leadership, they've all failed, you know. And I mean, you would understand why a lot of people were excited about...
Declaring your terms. I mean, people like Governor Buni, I mean, these are your leaders in your party.
Unfortunately.
What do you mean they failed?
Of course.
They're going to conduct a convention on the 26th of March.
That is the only hope we have at the rebirth of the party right now. And the only thing we can ask for is for the caretaker committee to get their acts together, give us a credible, free, fair, and contested convention on the 26th of March. We do not want any consensus. Let every position be contested by people so that whoever emerge will have the legitimacy and the support and the respect of every member of the party. We don't want any side arrangement to bring in someone. I mean, if anybody has influence...
But if the president, the leader of your party, decides that he wants consensus?
That will be dictatorship.
But he's the leader of your party.
I mean, the fact that the governors did it at their state does not mean the president should do it. That's the reason why we came into the party, because of him and not because of the governors.
But consensus is now part of a legal way of election in a primary.
Thanks to the electoral law, consensus will have to be signed, and the only good thing about this is the fact that the form is, I mean, you know, we've been here to cry about the sales of form. The form is out now. People are buying forms, you know, and by that electoral law, it means that you cannot force consensus on an individual. And our words as young people in the party to every contestant is to ensure they stand their ground, that they do not succumb to any pressure, any blackmail. I mean, the fact that you decide to stand for your aspiration and stand for what you want to, how you want to add value to the party does not in any way mean you are being disrespectful to any office or any individual.
So you're saying that the leadership, I mean, including Chief Ray Murphy that sits beside you there, is one of the leaders of the party, where you say they have failed. I mean, have you been able to substantiate that?
I mean, by June 2020, a team was set up, the caretaker committee, to deliver convention in 6 months. Right now, we're about 23 months after that. We haven't done that. And you are aware that for about 6 months or over now, my group, the APC Rebirth, have been at the forefront shouting about their incompetence and unwillingness to conduct the convention.
Chief Murphy, how would you react to what how do you say?
I really don't, I didn't want to barge in, because I like him to have his say, which is normal. But you see, let's start with consensus. A consensus is a part of democratic evolution. Sometimes you say, look, 3 people are running for an office. The 3 people get together, like you said, put their signature on a piece of paper and agree that one of them should run. That's allowed within the constitution of the APC. That's allowed within the Electoral Act. That's one. The word of, when you use the word failure, that's a value statement. And the facts are very clear. I was right there when there were issues around the Shomole's stay, and a caretaker committee was formed. There has been extensions. They didn't get the extensions on their own. They didn't impose the extensions on themselves. They got the extension from the leadership of the party. So the fact remains that my young friend here may have expectations in his view that has not been met. But to make a blanket statement about failures and all of that is not on. And again, my brother, you know, the parties are dynamic. Sometimes some of my fringe friends begin to want to cross over to other parties, and they begin to go out to disparage the party as a preparation to moving on.
Is that your reason for
I'm wondering. I'm wondering.
Are you one of those that want to cross to the other side? And I mean, because validate what or invalidate what Chief Murphy said. Is that the reason why you're talking?
I say some of the fringe people, because I wouldn't.
Because
there's something.
I do not think that word fringe refers to me. I'm not in any way a fringe member. I'm a foundation member of this party, and I've contributed my time, my resources, my energy, day and night to the success of this party for the 2 elections, before amalgamation, before the formation of the party, the first election and the second election. Me, my friends, and my group have been at the forefront defending the action of the party, of the government, you know, and of the party, defending the party day and night. I do not think any of us belong to that term word fringe. But I'll tell you what the problem is. It's a generational problem. We have a generation of people who got everything on a platter. They got a working country, but they could not sustain or preserve that for my generation.
And you think that this current leadership of APC is the one you blame for all of this? Is that what you're saying?
No. If I blame them for all of this, if my goal was to blame them for all of this, then I won't join the APC. The idea is, we know we've had a problem as a nation. So what we expect the APC to do right now is to be up and doing, is to ensure that, you know, you bring hope to over 200 million Nigerians, is to show direction in such a way that shows that we are truly the party for greater Nigeria. I mean, not to come back and do exactly what PDP did for 16 years, not to come back and even be worse than PDP in the 16 years. And the fact is, I'm not a fringe member of the party. I am in the party representing my generation.
Let Chief Murphy also
I have not submitted. I am not doing this so I can leave the party to APC. However, my loyalty first is to this country, and the fact that me and my generation are saying this country has to work. It has to work.
You know, my brother, you know, this is the thing I have to say. What is politics? Politics is the struggle to take power for the purposes of governance. This is a constant. People must disagree. People must get together to agree. And if you don't believe there's something to offer, then you don't offer yourself. So at every point in time, there is an effort to make things better. So to come and dismiss the efforts that are being made of your own party, that makes me begin to wonder whether we're in the same party to say to speak.
It doesn't have the right to disagree, even when things are not going well.
I wonder.
Because in the past days, your party has been one chaos or the other every day.
Let me make my point. A party is a contestation. That's a given. In that contestation, there are going to be issues. And we understand what politics is all about. Remember, they say politics is war by other means and war is politics by other means. So it gives you a clear idea of what politics is.
All right, let's wrap up now because we are totally out of time. So, Chief Murphy, going forward, what do you think is the way forward? Because it does look like there's a lot of confusion.
Yes. My answer
Governor Buni has resumed fully, isn't it?
Yes.
And understand that he has met with Governor Bello.
Yes.
What was the outcome of that meeting?
My answers are clear. There will be a convention on the 26th. The president, who is the overall leader of the party, in agreement with the interests that have been expressed by everybody, is insisting from his letter that the 26th should remain. Everybody, whatever you call them, faction, whether you call them acting, whether you call them dismissed, everyone is working for the 26th.
All right.
And that is the time when we expect that there will be a change of elected leadership. And that is what we ask Nigerians to believe in.
Aliyu, 30 seconds. We need to close now.
The leadership of the party have dragged the APC members through confusion enough, and by extension Nigerians. And what we want in the next few days is clear leadership, as we have seen in the first few days of Governor Abubakar Bello. Let there be clear leadership to show that we are going to have a credible, free, fair, and contested convention.
I'm glad you agree that Bello made some moves.
All right. We need to close now.
Thank you very much.
Chief Murphy, thank you so much. It's good to see you again after such a long time.
Same here. You know, I went back to my village to start a school. I just came back.
Thank you so much. Ali Audu, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
But that's our show for today, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm sure Kimale. Bye for now.